I believe you can learn many things for free. That's why I've decided to start teaching Rhino and Grasshopper for anybody who wants to learn it for completely free, without any extra packages, any extra cost, and completely free. Just all I want is your time to focus and start learning Rhino. Hi, my name is Ehsan. I'm the architect and parametric designer, computational designer. I also teach AutoCAD and Rhino, Grasshopper, and other architectural software for the past 10 years. So I just decided to start teaching Rhino for anybody who wants to learn this software, as this is one of the best software that I've been using for a long time. And after that, maybe we can start the other course for Grasshopper. That's why I've decided to teach this software from the zero, from scratch, to a hero, as an advanced level. I think if you want to learn this software, that's going to be a good course for you. So bear with me and let's get it started. Okay, we're starting with the interface of Rhino. The interface of Rhino as a default almost probably actually look like this in Rhino 4, Rhino 5, or Rhino 6 or 7. Actually, I work with all of them. Almost actually it's the same. So I'm going to start with this top part. This top part is called menu bar. You can save your file and edit and view. You can see many actually menu bar. It categorized perfectly, so you don't need to search a lot for option in Rhino. But as a default, you will see your menu until here, because these two are plugins that I installed myself for my Rhino. So if you install a new plugin, you might see the new icon here. It will appear, or actually depend on the plugin, maybe not. Then we have command bar, which is very useful, and it's I think I can say the most important part in the interface, that we all work with this one. So the command bar actually is like when you type any command, you can actually work with Rhino and it reply back to you, so you can see the message, error, or anything, or type a new command or respond it. Actually all goes through here, called command bar. Then we have some toolbar from actually standard, C-plane, and set view, so on. And usually you can see that there is a new in Rhino 7, because it's a Rhino 7 version. And you can see new in Rhino 7, or for example, if you are using Rhino 6, you can see new in Rhino 6. So right now we are using with Rhino 7. So they just show some of the important feature that is recently added to this software. Then you have a left toolbar. This left toolbar is somehow connected to this top actually toolbar. So if I change it to a standard C-plane or set view, it doesn't change. But if I go, for example, to surface tool, you can see it change, and it gives you more command regarding the surface tools. So if I go to the mesh tools, also you can see I have mesh tools, and it also has some tabs. So this one actually is mostly actually until viewport, you can see the default or standard. Then if you go to some of them, it might change here. Then we have the main interface, or main actually viewports. As a default, we have 4 viewports: perspective, top, front, right. But you can change it. You can of course change it. You can maximize it by double click on any of them, or you can change it from here. I can go to the top view, front view, right view, or as you can see, we can add the new viewport, or new layout, or floating viewport, or anything you want. So if I double click again here, it will back to the normal. In the right side of the screen, we have some other menu actually. It has, for example, properties, layers, rendering, and we're going to our material, and you can add or actually remove some of them. And we will talk about all of this in the other sessions. So if I go down, actually, as a default, I think it's not appearing. It looks like this. So you will see O snaps or object snapping, and it is, for example, maybe some of them are active or deactive. We will talk about this one. And the bottom of that one, you can see that some information. For example, the first one is the seaplane that you are working. As a default, it's a word seaplane. And then you can see the coordination of your cursor position. So then you have the units, the active unit right now, it is millimeter. And the active layer, it's a default. And some options actually, or helping design. And then you have some other info like memory use, CPU use, or other thing. This filter also can be on or off. If you on it, actually, it gives you some filter option. And if you off it, also can actually hide it. The good thing is, if you don't like this actually interface, you can change it. For example, you can change this command board and bring it down, like AutoCAD, for example. For those people who mostly use the AutoCAD, maybe they are comfortable to have it down part of the screen. Or if you want, for example, you can move it anywhere that you want. Or for example, this filter, I can add it to here, or I can bring it into the screen, like floating actually toolbar. So you can change anything you want, and also you can add the new toolbar as well. If you right click, you can add some toolbars, and or edit it, or create your own toolbar as well. So this is the normal interface of Rhino. Let's go through the other topics. Now we are going to talk about the user interface of Rhino. I just draw some model, some 3D model, to explain about some other feature in user interface. So as you can see, we have a cube here actually, and a cylinder, and something like the pyramid. So if we want to work with this user interface, for example, we can change the visualization of any viewport. If I click at this small icon here, I can change it to the shaded mode. So you can see in the shaded mode, we can see the surface and the edge are actually black thick line. So you can see the edges, and also some, we call it isocurve at the center of the surface. They are not a line, they are actually showing that this is the surface. And also we can change it to the render mode. In the render mode, it doesn't actually specifically showing the edges, but you can find the edges based on the shadow and lighting. So you don't see any more isocurve. Then you can go to the ghost mode. The ghost mode, you can actually see something like the it's something like X-ray mode in AutoCAD if you are the AutoCAD users. Then if I double click here, as I told you before, we can maximize it. So if I change it to X-ray, almost the same, but the X-ray in the ghost actually is a little bit different. And in the X-ray, you can see more clear the object and the behind the other objects, so, or hidden lines. We have also technical view. So it's like the old drawing with the technical view, actually, old drawing that we draw it with the pen and pencil, maybe. So we have also artistic, and other. So mostly we are using with shaded, wireframe, and render. I can say if your model is not so heavy and you are working with the normal objects, not too heavy file, work with this ghosted is okay. But if your file is so heavy, this ghosted might slow down your computer. So to me, mostly I use shaded mode. So how can we work on this 3D environment? If you hold your right click, you can change your viewport or rotate your viewport, and you can change your view or rotate your view to other part of the geometry. With your mouse, if you use the wheel of the mouse, you can just zoom in and zoom out. And if you hold the shift and right click, you can pan on the screen. Shift and right click, you can pan on the screen. So you can zoom here, then pan, then zoom out. So for selecting the object, we have two main kind of selection. The first one, if I double click and go to the top view, for example, the first one is called window selection. The window selection is like when you want to click some multiple object, because the normal actually selection you can select it one by one. But if you want to click some more object, if you click any part of the screen in your viewport, for example here, then you move your mouse to the right side. No matter up or down, just move to the right side. You can see a rectangle with the solid line, so meaning that this is the window selection. So window selection can only select those objects that are fully inside this rectangle. So right now, if I actually release my my mouse button, so you can see that it only selects this one. If I again try to here, I can only select these two. But if I select here and go left, in the right it was the window selection, but if I go left, it's a crossing selection. Crossing selection, you can see it's rectangle appear, but this time it is with the dash border line. It's not a solid border line. So this dash border line, meaning that this is the crossing selection. So this crossing selection will select all the object that even actually it touch the border of this selection area. So if it is inside, it will select. Even if it actually touch one of the object, it also select the second one as well. So in this case, you can see it select these two objects. Again, but if I do the same here, you can see only this one selected. So how can we add more item into our selection? For example, I select this one, and then I want to add this one just without the crossing or window selection. The other method is to use the shift button. If you press the shift button and hold the shift button on your keyboard, then you can add more objects into your screen. If you don't see this actually arrows here, it's gumble, so I can turn it off. Okay, so with the shift, I can add more object to my selection list, and with control, I can remove it. If I hold control and click them, it will remove. If I hold shift and I click the object, it will add to my selection. In this part, we are going to talk about how we can draw a 2D line or 2D objects in Rhino. So because we are working with 2D, I'm going to maximize the top view so we have better view. Okay, in this grid line that you can see here in the screen, we have the X vector and the Y vector, which is showing the X direction and the Y direction. And this solid line here shows that our 0, 0 coordination point, meaning that here is minus actually x and here is minus y. So if you work here, it's mostly positive point. So we try to work mostly in the positive work, but if you work in the negative work, mostly it doesn't matter, in case if you are working with coordination points. So here I'm going to create the line, and we are going to create a box or a rectangle, for example, by 5 by 10. So if I click anywhere, I can start, because it says start of the line, so it asks me for a point. So if I click anywhere, I can start my line. So this is the first line, and I can select anywhere for the second line. So in order to create and specify the second point to create the line, the old method in designing was to using the coordination point, for example, and typing the coordination point. For example, in the old time in the AutoCAD, when we click here for the starting point, we could type 0, 0, which is meaning that the x and the y. So if I press enter, you can see it start from here. Then we could type 5 by 0, then you can see it is 5 here. And then for here we should type, for example, 5 by 10. Press enter, which is here, and then 0 by 10, and then also 0, 0. So right now we have a rectangle here, but this method of designing was the old method of designing. And these days, because of the ability of the software, and we don't use this kind of designing anymore. So here we have much easier way to design this one. We can, for example, click anywhere, or we can again type it like the old time. For example, I'm going to start from here, which is 10 by 0. And then I can start drawing. For example, I will type 5. So this line is only has the length of 5. So I'm going to actually create it exactly on this x direction. So I have two choices here. First, I can activate ortho here. The ortho, if I activate it, it only lets me to draw a line which is, for example, 0, 90, 180, or 270 degree. So only horizontal and vertical line I can draw if I activated ortho. But because sometimes it restricts my movement, so I can turn it off. And if I want to activate this ortho, not permanently from here, like from here, if I want to just temporarily activate it, I can hold my shift key, so you can see it activated. If I release my shift key, it will deactivate, and if I hold my shift key, it will activate it. So I just click anywhere, it doesn't matter, because I set the length here as a 5. So I just hold the key, the shift key, and then I click here. So you can see I just create the line by length of the 5. So again, I will type 10. So I hold the shift key. It doesn't matter I click here or here or here, because I hold the shift key to understand I need the vertical line. So again, 5 and click. And for the last one, I don't need to close it. So I can see here and type close or type C. It says next point of polyline, or press enter when done, or press C. Because I'm using the polyline, these lines are connected. This is not the line. The difference of the polyline is the polyline, there are multiple lines that connected as one object, but in the line, there are only one object, one by one. So if I type C and press enter, you can see it close my surface actually, and close my curve. Sorry. Okay. So right now we have a closed curve here that design much easier with this polyline. Okay, in this part we are going to talk about OS snaps. What are OS snaps in Rhino? So sometimes if you want to create another object and we want to grab some part of the previous object that we already designed. For example, I want to create a rectangle here, but I want to make sure that my rectangle or my, for example, box will connect to this corner. How we can do that? In this case, if you are trying to click here, for sure it is not going to connect. Even if, for example, you zoom in and you try again, and then you again zoom, you can see that it is not connected. And it is almost very hard to zoom in and find the corner. The easiest way is to turn on OSnap here, click here, and make sure the end point is on. So right now, if I click polyline again, and if I move my mouse or cursor close to this corner, you will see that it will activate it and says endpoint, intercept, or for example, lot. So I can start my rectangle from here. So again, 5, and this time, for example, again 5. And now I'm going to grab the center of this line. So if I go here and make sure that my midpoint is on, then I grab the mid part of this curve. You can see it's activated and says the mid is activated. So I'm right now sure that this is the midpoint of this one. So the mid will help you to grab or snap the mid of the line or curve. The point also, if you have a point in your design, let me add some point here. From here, I will add some multiple point. So if my point is not on, I cannot grab it. But if I activate the point, you can see I can click on the point as well. So what is near? The near will help you to grab along the line, or it's not the near of the line, it's exactly on the line. Like now, you can see it will help you grab any part of the line. No matter it is the mid or end or start point of the line, you can grab any part of the line by near. Then we have center or center of the object. If you activate this one, it will help you to grab the center of the object, but you need to go around the perimeter of that object to help you to grab the center. If you go at the center, nothing will show, but if you try to go around the perimeter, you can see that it shows you the center. Now I can click on the center of this, then also here. Now I have a line from the center of this rectangle to center of this rectangle. So this one is the center. The other one is the intersection. So for the intersection, if I click here, and for example, I have a line here, I want to, this line will finish at the intersection of this line and this line. So if my intersection is on, I can move my mouse here and you can see the intersect will appear, and it helped me to grab that point. Then we have perpendicular as well. The perpendicular, if I create a line and I want to find the perpendicular, let me turn off the near and also mid. So I can find the perpendicular of, oh, it's not on. I can find the perpendicular of this line. So now you can see it is 90 degrees exactly, and it is perpendicular. So we have also quadrant, and we have knot and vertices that we maybe talk about it later. But mostly they are the most useful OSnap in Rhino. In this part, we are going to talk about how to create the circles. The circles in Rhino are very important because you need your circle in your design. No matter you're working on the jewelry design or you're architect or civil engineer, We all need to design circles, so it's better to know all the type of the circle or all the method that we can create the circle in Rhino, because it's not the only one method to design a circle. We have multiple methods to design a circle. The easiest part is you can click here and it asks you to choose the center of the circle. So for example, I click here, or I can again type the coordination. I'm going to type 20 by 20 at this point. Then it asks me type the radius of your circle. So if I type the radius, it will accept, but as a default, it shows me my previous radius I designed in this software. So it says the previous one was 8.44. If I press enter, it will accept this one as this radius. But if I type, for example, 5, it creates the circle with the radius of 5. So if I again draw a circle and click here, and this time I'm going to type 40 by 20, and as you can see, it shows my previous radius that I entered to the software. So I can choose diameter. So if here I will type 10, or as a default it converted this 5 to 10, so you can see I can type my create my circle with the diameter. So in order to change it, you can click here, radius diameter, or you can type the word R or D, the word that has an underline. So I press enter. The other method is to pick a line. For example, I want to create the line here. I will type 2 and then press enter. So I click here, and this time I'm not going to type any coordination. So I make sure that the center of OSNAP is active. So I go to the parameter, and then it shows me that center is grabbed. So I click here. Then I can again grab here as an endpoint. The endpoint is on. So I can have a circle to this endpoint. The other method of designing a circle is circle with 2 points. So it's like diameter as well. So if I want to have a circle between these two circles, I can click this corner here and then click circle diameter, or circle with 2 points also. They are the same method. Then I click here and here. So you can see I have a circle between these two. The next method is to create a circle between 3 points. So if I click here, then I go and grab this one. To grabbing this corner or 4 sides of the circle, like right, top, left, bottom, you should activate the quadrant. The quadrant object snap is on the OSNAP actually part. So it will help you to grab the 4 sides of the circle. So I activated this OSNAP, then I clicked on the circle with 3 points. Now I pick this point as a first point, second point, and then third point. You can see I have a circle with 3 points. This circle is passed through this 3 points, and then it creates a circle. The other method are actually much different, but I'm going to tell you some of the important one. So this one is the circle tangent to the curve, to tree curve. So meaning that if I want to create the circle that touch, for example, this circle and this circle and this circle, so I can only click here. Let me turn on the near and turn off the center. So I will click here, so it touch this actually curve. Then I will click here, it will touch this curve, and here. Now I have a circle that touch 3 curve on this actually model. So this is actually very useful. The other method, if I click as a default, I can also select it from here, is to okay, the other method of designing a circle is this one, tangent radius. This one is almost very important. In most of the design we will actually encounter with it. So if I click here and tangent radius, so I'm going to have a circle that touch two curve, this one for example and this one, with the specific radius. So if I type for example 8 or 80, you can see I have a circle with a radius of 80 that surely touch this circle and this circle. So I can change it to any radius I want. Again, click here, I will type for example 20. So you can see that it creates a circle that touch this one and with a radius of 20. I will show you how it works in the designing, because in especially the car manufacturing, this this tangent radius is very useful. In this part, we are going to talk about the arcs, how we can design an arc in Rhino. So if I click here, you can see we have multiple way for designing arc. So if I click the first one, it says, or if I just hold it, it says arc center start angle. So meaning that I can click the center, start, and then angle, 45 degree. Or I can type minus 45, so it goes this way. So I have an arc here. The other method is start and point on an arc. So if I click here, then I start from this point, then here, and then point on a curve. So it is a start and point on a curve. Again, for repeating a command, you can use your right click for repeating the last command that you have, or press enter. It run your latest command. So again, I will click here, start point, end point, then point on a curve. So I will click here or anywhere I can click. So this one is start and point on a curve. The other one is start and direction. So this one is almost useful because sometimes you want to create the arc that smoothly change from the starting point to an arc. So if for example I want to have a start point here, then an arc to here. So if I choose the direction on this direction of the line, meaning that in this one I hold the shift, so my ortho is temporarily activated, then I click here, so you can see I have a smooth arc that start and transition from the line to arc, because it used the arc with the direction. So with this one, start, end, and direction at the starting point, you can create the arc with direction. So in this situation, actually, it's very useful. Then we have start, end, and radius. So if I click here, start, end, then I can type my radius. So for example, I can type 30. Become like this, or I can make it for example 10, it become like this, 5. So it says it cannot be smaller than 7. Why? Because the distance from here to here is is about 7 actually, so I cannot, sorry, it's about 14, so I cannot choose any number less than 7. So I will choose, for example, 10. Yes, it is 10, it activated. Then I click. So there are the 4 type of the designing the arc. They are actually very useful. The other one is arc tangent to the curve, and also arc through points from the point, for example, if you have multiple points, or convert curve to arc actually. But mostly for designing the arc, we use these 4 type of the designing. Of course, in Rhino, we have many commands that we cannot go through all of them, but we just show you some of the useful command that it can help you for your designing. In this part, we are going to talk about Polygon. What are polygons and how we can design a polygon in Rhino. So if I click here for polygon, it asks me for the center of polygon. I click anywhere on the screen. Then I can type I can select the other corner, or I can type the radius. So I will type 5 for the radius. I can change the number of the side. Instead of 6, I can type 8. You can see it is 8 or 6. And then I can type the radius 5 and hold the shift for activating temporary ortho. So press enter. Again, I will type, or I can press enter for repeating the previous command. For polygon, again, I click here and same number of the sides and same radius, but this time I change the mode. The previous one was designed by inscribe mode, and this one in circumscribe mode. So if I again type 5 and click, you can feel that this one is smaller than this one. Both of them was with the radius of 5, but why one of them are smaller, the other one are bigger? The thing is, the mode of the designing was different. You saw that this one designed on inscribe mode, and this one was circumscribe mode. If I create the circle at the center of, for example, this one, activate the center view. Okay, now I'm going to make a circle with a radius of 5. Delete this one. So you can see that when it is inscribe mode with the radius of 5, meaning that the polygon is fully inside the circle with the radius of, for example, same number. But if I make it circumscribe mode and again type 5, it is the circle is inside of the polygon. So yes, this one is inscribe mode, so inscribe mode is completely inside the circle, but in circumscribe mode, the circle with the same radius is inside the polygon. So they are the main difference of inscribe and circumscribe of polygon designing. The other way of designing a polygon is polygon designing by edge here. So you can make a polygon from here and you can specify the edge. So for example, the one of the edge can be 10. If you want to flip it, you can press F. It will flip 10 again and hold the shift. So I have one polygon with the length of the 10. So this one, because you are specifying the length, it doesn't matter if actually it doesn't ask you if it is going to be a inscribe mode or circumscribe mode. But for the designing with radius, it will ask you for the mode because it has a huge difference. In this part, I'm going to talk about the curves in Rhino. For the designing a curve, you should go on this part and click this icon. You can see we have a multiple way for designing a curve. I'm just mostly focusing on these two commands, the curve point, control point curve or interpolate curve actually. These two are most useful curve, and the other one I will explain it during the project basis actually lessons. So for the first one is the control point curve. If I select this one, and for now I have some multiple points in my screen, I want to create a curve between these points. And I make sure my object snap point is active so I can grab the points. Then I pick the first point, the next point, the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth point. And then right click. As you can see, for control point curve, when you select a point, it doesn't mean that your curve is passing through that point. Its meaning actually, that point is the control point of the curve. You see, they are the control point of each curve. Actually, each curve has a different control point. If I drag it here, so you can even modify it actually, but this control point is not on the curve, is actually for controlling. But we have other kind of curve that is called interpolate curve. This one, when you select the point, your curve surely pass through that point. As you can see, all this curve is passing through this point, but the control point is much further than this point. So there are two main actually different between the control point curve and the interpolate curve. We have also other kind of designing a curve like handling curve and interpolate curve on surface, but mostly we will teach them during the project basis lessons. In this part, I'm going to talk about trim and split. There are two main commands that mostly we use it during our design, no matter we are using in 2D or 3D. If we have a curve here, and another one, for example, here, we want to cut, for example, we want to cut this line and remove this line from here to here. And it means that we remove some part of the line that already has intersected with some other lines. So in order to do that, in order to removing, we can use trim. So trim command is here. If you left click on this icon, it asks you select cutting object. So my cutting object, because I want to cut this one until here, so I select this one and then right click or press enter, both of them is okay. It says select object to trim. So I have to pick that side that I want to be removed. So if I select here, this area will be removed. So if I select here, this area will be removed. So this is the trim command. So for example, if I want to do it again, I can select trim, and this time I select this one and this one. We can select multiple objects for cutting object, as you can see here mentioning objects. So right click. Now if I select this one, it will remove it from here to here. This one, remove it from here to here. But if I select this one, it doesn't work because it doesn't going to be cutted. Or I can, if I select here, you can see that this part also can be removed. So this is the trim command. And also we have another command called split. These are very similar, But the difference is that in this split, actually, it's not going to remove anything. It only split the objects. So if I select this one and right click, and then I select the cutting object, it's opposite method actually, like the trim. First you select your object, then you select your cutting object. Then you can see this line is splitted, and also this line. So if I want to split this one, I again can select the split, select here, right click, select this one and this one. Then you can see this one also splitted. In this part, we are going to talk about joining objects and exploding objects. So, for example, if I have a line here, and then I have another line here, right now I have two objects. If I want to join these two objects together and make them as a one polyline, so I can easily select join, then select my objects, and then right click or press enter. You can see that it says two curve joined, and if I select it, it's as a one object. And also the opposite way of the joining object, it's explode. So if I select this one and right click, and you can see it's exploded to the multiple objects. The thing is, if, for example, we have some object like this one, that it doesn't connect it properly. How it works if we want to join them. Right now we have 4 lines, 3 of them completely connected. 1 of them is somehow close but not connected. So if I select all of them and press join, you can see only this one is connected and made and actually joined together, but this one no. But we also can join these 2 lines as well, but we need to select it one by one in this case. So I press join, click here, then click on this one. Then there is a message. It says the distance between the closest end is 0.31254. Do you want to join it? If I press yes, you can see it moved my line to connect them together. So it moved both of them. It moved both of the endpoint to join them together. So this is how the join works and also how the explode works. And also for other geometry as well, if, for example, we use Polygon, we talked about Polygon before. Polygon is as a one object. If we want to explode it, what will happen? We will have multiple one line object actually. That's it. In this part, we are going to talk about how we can move an object, move or copy or other actually function to an object or objects. So in this example, I'm going to make a circle, for example, with the radius of 10. Then I want to create the circle, another circle with the radius of 1. I want to move this object to this quadrant point. But how can I do that? Of course, one of the way in Rhino is drag and drop the object, but it's not that much accurate. You cannot accurately actually put it on a specific point. So the method is you can select the move command from here, or you can type it here, move, then select your object, press enter, then you grab the centroid of this circle and put it on this quadrant. I have to make sure that my quadrant is on and my centroid was on also, because I could grab the center. Then I can select here as a quadrant point. So this is how the move objects work. How about if we have multiple objects? That's also fine. We have no problem with that. If I create another circle with 0.2 here, 0.2 here, and also here. I think this one is not at the quadrant, yes. So if you want to move multiple objects, that's fine. We can select them all and again type move or click here, move command, grab the center and first point and then the destination point. The copy command also is the same method. The copy is here. Also you can type the copy command. It's the same like move, but the difference is it doesn't remove your first one. So now you can see I could copy these two objects. The other command that we have, it's also very useful, is rotate. How we can rotate an object. So let's make an example. If I have a line here, and I want to rotate it to here as well. So I can type rotate, the normal rotate, because we have different type of the rotating, the normal rotate. Then it asks me, because I already select the object or pre-selection function. So if I go back and I again type rotate, the first question is select the object. Then it asks me to choose the center of rotation, so I will choose here. Now it asks me angle or first reference point. So I can type the angle or the first reference point. So I'm going to type click the first reference point. Now you can see I can move the rotate the object in this direction. So I can type 90 and it rotated here. Okay. One more thing about the rotate, I just press Ctrl Z to undo the last comment. So one more thing here is if I select here, I can do not actually select the first point or first reference point and directly type the angle, 90 degree. So you can see that it's the same method. And one more thing is, if I click the copy here or press C and press enter, my object will not move. It actually copy. So if again I type 90, you can see I have one more here and another, for example, 180. I have one more here and minus 90 also works here. So we have 4 items that rotated around this object. The other command is very useful, is the mirror command. What is the mirror? So the mirror is like the mirror actually functioned in the real world. So if we select this mirror and select our object, press enter, it asks us to a start point of the mirror, start of mirror plane. So I'm going to select my starting point of mirror and end point of my mirror. Because the default, the copy was yes, it didn't remove my first object, and I have both of the object actually right now here. But in case I select this one, and before selecting the last point, I change it to copy no, it will remove my first object. So it's very useful command. I do it again. Copy yes and put it here. And now if I delete all this area, I can rotate it 90, 180 and minus 90. And like this. In this part, I'm going to talk about the offset command. The offset command, if I type offset, yeah, the first one, is the command that copy an object actually parallel to the object, parallel to itself. So if I click the object, you can see that I can have another version of this line, or copying this file here, and I can change the distance. For example, I can make it 5 and this side or this side, and if I click on this side, so I have another version of this line. So if I take the distance from these two locations, from here to here, you can see it's always 5, perpendicular, always 5. So what objects you can offset? You can almost offset many objects, like rectangle. If you offset on a rectangle, you can have it like this. Now you can see the corner are rounded, because in the offset we have multiple options, like the corner round, or chamfer, or sharp, anything you want, that's possible actually. So if I select here, and you can offset the circle as well. If I offset circle, you can offset it, and also a polyline. If I have any polyline, I can offset it. So the other thing for the offset is you can have an option to close the line at the starting point and at the end point. It says capping, yeah. If you make the capping flat, it will close the end point and the start point. Or if you make the capping rounded, it makes it like the tube, for example. So it will round the end point as well. There are also multiple options that you can use. For example, the both side, you can make it a both side. If I change it to 10, it's more obvious, yeah. So both side or only one side, and also other options. In this part, I'm going to ask you to do a practice. So this geometry, I just find it in internet. You can actually look for Google and type, for example, like practice for Rhino or practice for AutoCAD. You will see lots of geometry like this or drawing like this that you can practice it for improving your Rhino skill. So I'm going to ask you to design this one and pause the video and the screenshot from this image and try to design this geometry. And if you have any problem and you couldn't design it, then you come back to this video and see how I designed this one. Okay. So I just split my screen into the two windows, so I can see the image and I can see here my Rhino. I'm going to start from this point because we have any coordination on this one, so it doesn't matter where we should start. For example, I start from this point. I click on circle and click here, for example, and radius 5, and then another radius. Try to grab the center because my center snap or object snap is on. Then type 10. Then I have another circle here with 21 distance, so I will create a line here, or I can copy. Copy is much easier. Copy for 21 and hold the shift for temporary activating ortho. Then I click. Now I have these two. Then I make sure my quadrant is on, so I will take this point to here and then here to here, and then type trim, select these two cutting objects and then removing these two area. For now I will keep this part because I may need it. Then I'm going to create this center, this circle, these two circles. So the distance from here to here is 30, and of course there is a 10 gap here, so the distance from here, this point, Let me change it to other. Yeah, from, yeah, make it blue. So from here to here, the distance will be 20. So I'm going to make a, for example, line 20. Then from here to here is 25. So I will type 25, and it's here. So I make sure that the end OSNAP is on, then click the endpoint. Then the radius, the diameter, this one is the diameter. So diameter of 10. Diameter of 10. And again, another one with diameter of 20. Okay, so I don't need these two lines anymore. Now, for creating this curve, actually, this yellow part, we need to go for arc, tangent, radius. Yeah, or left click on this icon is arc, tangent, radius. So I select this one, and this one, and this one, and then the radius is 30. Now I have it. I don't know why it didn't design again. Here, 30, and yes, this side. So I have this arc, and again for this area I want to design this circle. So I will shift, or I can create the line for easy use. Here to here 30, this center. Now I can make a circle with diameter of 14 and another circle with diameter of 24. Okay, we have these two circles, and we have another circle here. It seems like a circle, so with the radius of 6 and the distance of 30. So I can create the line with 6, 30. Okay, I don't need this line anymore. Then with the radius of 6, okay, I have this one. Now I need to rotate it on this center point, so with 40 degree. So I type rotate command. I selected already this object. Then it asks me for center of rotation, and I can only type 40, but I have to make sure that the copy is yes, because I need this circle and I also need this circle. So 40. Now I have it here. Okay, then we have this line and this line. So in order to design these two lines, we need to create the arc, tangent, radius, this one and this one here. Now, the radius for here, how much it's going to be actually, this one is 30. So the distance until here and here is 30. So 30 minus 6, because of this radius of 6, it's gonna be 24. So if I type 24 is radius of 24, yeah, it's gonna be okay. And the next one also the same, here and here, but this time I have to type 30 plus 6, so 36. So radius 36. Oops, again. Radius 36, and then done. Okay, we have these two, so we can trim this cutting object, and we remove these two lines here. Also, we don't need this line anymore. And then we have this one with the R11 or radius of 11. So I'm going to create the circle here again. No. Here, this center with the radius of 11. So I have this one here. This actually arc. Now I think that this one should be also 11. I'm not sure, but I think it should be 11 as well. Yeah. Or I can also, there is another way to do it, is to make an offset for these two. The offset also is the working here. So 6 and 11, so the offset is going to be 5 actually. So the other method is to, if I delete this one, I can type offset. Then click here and the distance of 5. Okay, now we have here. Now for this area, we need to again design tangent radius. So here to here with the radius of 10. Now it's okay. And also the same as here, but we need to make another circle with the radius of 20. Now again, tangent radius for this corner. So this one and this one and the radius of 10 and okay. So now this part also is done. Now I need to connect these two lines together. So the best way for making it clean is to make it with tangent. So I think we can make it between these two. So how this command works, this actually is the tangent curve. If you select curve here, line tangent to curve, you only need to select these two curves, so it creates the line that's actually tangent to that line. So if I trim this one and this one, then trim this line. No, I think we need to have this one because this line is already existing. So if we want to create this line, we also can use the copy command, copy, correct, from here to here. Then we have this quadrant and we have this quadrant. I think this one is not connected to that point, or maybe this line is not connected. So if that's the case, I can select the arc here, tangent, and the radius of 30. Again. Okay. Now it seems okay. So now trim this one and this one. Yes. And again trim this one, and removing this one, and again trim this time these two, and here. Yeah. Okay, I think we are done. Thanks for watching. I would like to ask you to press the like button, and also if you have any comment, please comment below and I will respond to your comment. Also press the subscribe button so you will not miss any new video regarding the rhino and grasshopper. And it would be a big help if you introduce my channel to your friends. Thank you.